I uh, I would like to say a few things. I would like to talk, and I would like to drink some tea. So I will cup the tea and assess what's in there, and then carry on with the regular brew and see how I enjoy it. But that's not everything. I would like to talk about talking, and I would like to, I'd say, word a picture or paint a picture using my words. Because lately, in recent times, I feel that there is a lot of information out there, and it's very easy to, I think, accept whatever information is there without any further checking or without any further vision. So what I would like to do is I wouldn't like for you to maybe accept whatever I say or regard it as a truth or do anything actually really with what I say. I would like you to perhaps just stop for a while, like I am doing now, and while you study, just listen, and you don't have to make out anything of it. You don't have to even listen to the meaning. You can just hear and relax, because also in current times it's, I think, very nice to stop and yeah, let me smell the tea first. That's beautiful. So I would like to say some words and describe whatever I deem worthy, and I don't want you to take it seriously. So I suppose you can imagine that when you go to a gallery or some sorts, and there could be two pictures, right? One is a very abstract picture, for example, being there lines or blobs of colors, and it doesn't really manifest anything particular. And then next to that could be a picture, a very precise one, like a portrait or something, and that one you can make out like it's a face, and that one yeah, and that one is you could name it, you could describe it, I guess, better. And but if you come closer to the picture, they are both the same. they are both lines or colors on a canvas. So there is, at the magnification, when you are close to the picture, there is no difference between them. You have a color on a canvas. But when you step out, you see the portrait and something concrete you can name, like a face or something, and the other one is undescribable, I would say. Well, you could obviously start picking out features and name them, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. Now, imagine we wouldn't have a name, we wouldn't have a word for a face, and so when you would see the portrait, you would have the same kind of experience as watching the abstract image. You wouldn't be able to describe what you are seeing, and yet it is there, right? And so, for example, when you would look in a nature at a tree, right? So you can have a vague idea how that looks now, because I am telling you that you are looking at a tree, right? And if you come closer, the tree isn't a tree any longer. It's a bark, for example, because you see the bark, right? And then you come a bit closer, and then you see the skin of a tree, right? And then if you come closer, you can see molecules, cells, and you could go on in this manner. And but at some point you would perhaps lost words how to describe that, and where is that level when you decide when you stop describing things, right? But it was all a tree in the beginning, and now it isn't. And so what perhaps I would like you to say, to paint to you using my words, is if you realize that this is the case, and I think this is 5 minutes. Let's cut this. What I'm trying to say is that if you, or if we didn't have a word for a tree and you would walk in a nature, it would be just colors, right? You wouldn't feature out the tree, you wouldn't pick it out and name it and note it. You would just see colors and you would say, well, that's beautiful. And if you've done this with all the things that there are, you realize that there are no things in the universe, or there are no entities, I would say, right? There is everything as one. It's all existing energy, right? Including you. And once you realize that, you can live fully in the present, I guess, and you can relax because everything is fine and there's nothing to worry about, because you don't have words to describe your worries, and you just are as you are. This smells nice. There's definitely a bitterness to this, but that's because of its cupping. I'm not sure whether I want to do 100 degrees water on this. And I'm not sure about the grams of how much I want to put in the Kaiwan. But this could be this will be heat resistant water, I think, so it's fine. I'll start with something like 95 degrees and we will see. And it's pretty full with this 3 grams to 150 milliliters, so I will stay with 6 grams per 100 and we will see how that goes. So let me prepare this godly tea here. It's sweet, it's very sweet, like cinnamon, and I'll prepare this and then I will talk some more. I would like to illustrate this picture of a picture that I've been talking about some more, because I think it takes time to truly understand that we don't live in the world that's in our heads, meaning describing it in those features that you pick out, but we could easily live without the imagination of how it is, and without the naming and without the objects, because we would just be, right? And that's when you understand that, I think when you feel that, nothing worries you, at least in that moment, and everything is as it's supposed to be. Let me preheat the vessel. Not to distract you. So I would like to paint a picture using words. It's going to be the same picture, and maybe you could close your eyes or just listen and see for yourself. So let me smell the tea as well. The picture is essentially going to be the same in both cases, but I'll try to describe it in 2 different ways. Yes. Give it a quick rinse. So I'll start painting a picture. First with without using the concepts, and the other one with using the concepts, and you can see perhaps the difference. So I'll start with the first picture. You are breathing and you smell damp air. There are many funny smells. it's something you've never smelled before, and it's very complex. You can't name it. It's that. Also, there are noises. Lots of different noises. Different frequencies, tones. But you can't quite pick them out either. And then you feel pressure on your body, but it's not unpleasant pressure. If you put your hand down like that near to your body, you can sense a soft, a bit wet sensation. It's like a brush, but it's not a brush. And when you open your eyes, you see those beautiful, marvelous colors everywhere. And there are different shapes of those colors. These are rounded red colors, and there are straight brown colors. There's one big blob of bluish color. And you can put everything this together, and all these sensations, you're in the middle of those. And that is the picture. And the other picture that I would like to paint is the same picture, but using modern information communication techniques, I guess, and you can see the difference. So it's an autumn, and you sit on a park ground, and you have your hands in the grass and leaves, and there are birds singing, and you see a pond in front of you, and there are many trees with multiple colored leaves. And that's very plain description of the same picture using objects. And they could really be the same picture. But I feel that the first one is much more interesting when described vaguely, because you can't quite grasp what's there, you just accept whatever's there. Just like when, in the first case, when you have those two pictures, the portrait and the abstract painting. You can just look at the abstract painting and you don't have to name it. You just look at it and accept it and feel it. And that's the same way you can do in the present. You don't have to name anything, you don't have to be put in a park. You just listen to your senses, and you don't have to react to those senses. You don't have to do anything in the present. I like the 95 degrees. It doesn't extract the bitterness that much, but it keeps the sweetness of the tea. That is nice. And I wouldn't say this is 95, it's definitely not 100, because it's been cooled down here. But it's definitely, this tea could hold 100 degrees, but it's not necessary if you don't want a bitterness. So, to iterate, for example, when an animal like a dog is in the park, do you think it knows that the tree is a tree, or do you think he just accepts it, or it accepts it as whatever it is? And therefore lives in the present. Because if you start naming these things and you start describing the things and then you start connect the causality and the things, so there is one there's one another image to think about, right? So if I describe it using words and objects, when you burn wood, like it's a fire, then slowly the wood burns and turns into ashes. But that's description of what is happening in your head, and that is how would you storytell it, as I just as I did, right? But if you are fully in the present moment, there is just the wood, and then there is the ashes. There is no connection between those two. And this is really good tea, actually. Holy shit. Actually, this might help you to get rid of a burden of worrying about stuff, because stuff is and stuff will be without your imagination, and stuff will be without your describing it and without your knowing how it works. Imagine you wouldn't know how burning wood turns into ashes. You would just accept it as it is. You just look at it and it kind of is wood, and then it's not wood, right? It's ashes. So that's with all the things. You don't have to understand everything. You don't have to describe anything. You can live fully in the present and absorb it as is. And I think, and I would say that's far more interesting, at least sometimes. I stopped because I concentrated, because I'm using technique to extract the maximum out of this tea, or extract whatever I feel is maximum in this tea, to extract what I want from this tea. And yeah, that's done using techniques, and that's perhaps topic for another times. Yes, this one is good. So it's nice from time to time to snap out of this descriptive world, this world in your head, because it is not in your head, it's in front of you, right? So I feel sometimes I live too much in the world in my head, and I forget to synchronize it with the real world, right? And I hope that this video, as a picture in gallery that you just visited, will either help you to realize that now and just be, and then obviously return, or maybe think about it for a while, that there is no difference between the trees and the pond, because they all together connected as one, and with you as well, because if you couldn't name them, they would be connected, right? It would be just whatever is. And I think that's the key to not worrying, because everything seems to fade away when you don't live in your head, but when you live in whatever is in front of you or around you. And I think it's also very hard to not live in the concepts and stuff, because we've been taught and educated that that is how the world works, right? Surely, but it doesn't mean that it is the only way how it should work, or that is the only way that it works. Most definitely it is useful, because you can interact with others that have been educated the same way, and you can profit and thrive, and you can succeed, but you can also fail. You can be miserable if you don't fit into concepts. But if you disregard those concepts, then you are neither happy nor sad. You just are. Because you don't name those feelings, and you don't expand your thoughts on those feelings. You just accept them, and you don't need to name them. And they are just feelings. They are not bad, not bad, nor bad, nor good. They just are. But I imagine we couldn't. Well, if we lived like that, right? I'm not sure there would be houses, that there would be modern society. I'm not sure that there would be even communication. But would it matter? I mean, would we be more sad? We wouldn't be sad, right? We wouldn't experience sadness, but we wouldn't perhaps experience happiness either. We would just be, I guess. But that's not what I'm trying to say. I don't want to expand on these kind of thoughts, because I don't want to preach how it is or how it isn't. I just wanted to paint a picture, and imagining you watching this video and listening to me is like you going to a gallery and watching a picture. You don't make anything out of it. You just look at it, and you might get inspired, and you might want to, you might understand, and that's everything I'm saying. Just to stop for a while and look at a picture I just painted. That's everything I wanted to talk about. Oh, this is a real good tea.